Hi there and welcome to Hyundai Power Equipment. My name's Adrian and today we're going to look at the HYM51SP Lawn Mower. Okay, no time like the present, let's have a look at the contents of your box then, shall we? Okay, so I've laid everything out on the table here for you to see. First of all, we have the mower unit itself. As you can see, the handle's disassembled at the moment. We'll go through the assembly of that shortly. Next, we have a comprehensive user manual. Now, it's important that you read this. It gives all the instructions for use of the mower, how to assemble it and what have you. And it also gives sort of useful hints and tips and safety instructions and that sort of thing. So it's important that you read your user manual before you start. Next, we have power equipment registration, your warranty registration. Now, it's important that you register your warranty. You can fill this in and send it back to us on the address provided. It can be done online or you can do it via a phone number on the bottom as well, but it's most important that you do register your warranty. Next, we have what we call a quick start guide, and it's basically a pictorial reference of step-by-step of how to put it together in general operation. It's quite a useful thing to keep hold of, maybe on the garage wall or something like that, should you forget, from season to season how to start it and what have you. Okay, that's followed by, it does come with its own spark plug spanner, so should you need to change the spark plug, you've got the correct spanner with the kit. Then we have a 70-litre collection basket. I mean, it's a great size this, it's a hard top basket, absolutely brilliant. A little bit of assembly needed, I'll show you that as well. Here we have the side discharge chute. I shall show you that, the application of that afterwards, and it's one of the 4-in-1 functions. And finally, underneath the rear chute, you'll see that it's got a mulch plug fitted in the back. We'll go through the fitting of that, what it's for. Again, it's for one of the 4-in-1 functions. And that's pretty much the contents of your box. So the next thing to do is the handle assembly. If you follow my way of doing it, it's quite simple. So first of all, take the handle and bring it right over to this side. Now you will see on the handle, I'll just show you here, that it's got hand wheels on it, which we're going to remove, and some little spacers and a bolt. Well, it's the same on both sides, so I'll just pull those out of the way for the time being. Right. Okay, so as I said, from the start position, right up and over the top. And you can lay it on the floor, or if you happen to have a bench, on the bench as I have here. The next thing to do is to go over again until the legs are on the floor, and then bring the handle right up and over. Okay, now you can see what I'm trying to do is to locate the poles in these slots. You see the slots there? And the poles slide down. They're pretty self-explanatory. There's a hole in the pole and there's a hole in the bracket. We basically line the two poles up and put the bolt through. So if I do that on both sides, sometimes a little wiggle and jiggle them down, and in they go. It will actually stay there in that position for the time being. But the next thing to do is to put the bolts and the nuts and the spacers in. As you can see, this has got a half round shape, which fairly obviously sits against the bar, and it goes on like that. So once you've got the spacer on with the nut, rotating it in a clockwise direction to tighten. There we are, that one's nearly tight. Exactly the same this side, just repeat the operation. Gauge spacer on with the hand wheel, and tighten them both up in a clockwise direction. As you can see, I've left the protective film on for the purposes of this, because I recommend you do the same yourself, because it stops you scratching anything while you're assembling it. But once you've assembled it, remove the plastic film. But when I put the bottom end of the bars in, I just slid them up out of the way. You'll see that there are two plastic clips, one on each side. Before you take your film off, just keep these plastic clips, they're the cable ties. I'll show you those in a minute. Okay, so having removed all your plastic, you can then put the handle up, and you'll find you can keep the cables running up between the handles. So as you can see, I've got 3 cables running up in the center of the handle, and over the top of this bar. If you put it together the wrong way or folded something in a different direction and the cables come under the bar, you'll find that's a problem, because when you come to store it, the cables will be dragged over this bar and it will kink your cables. So the cables always have to go over the top of this bar, and ideally keep them on the inside when you assemble it. So that would be the storage position when you put it away in your shed, garage, wherever you've got to keep it, so it's nice and compact. And then you can fold it up. Now you can see here, these have got quick release over centre clamps, is what I call them, like knuckle joints over centre clamps. And they can be locked off, like so, into the virtually vertical position. If you're a shorter chap or lady, or chap as I happen to be, you could drop it down a little bit lower so the angle has changed. I'll demonstrate that. You see, it can come a little bit lower for the short person, or if you're particularly tall, you can put it up a little bit higher. Whatever suits yourself and whatever you feel most comfortable. But the typical position for the average sort of person would be pretty much a straight line. Okay. I was talking about these little clips that we saw earlier on. They're basically cable tidies, and they're just to keep your cables in a nice neat place. So as you can see, 2 cables, 2 little gaps in there. There we are. And that keeps the cables nice and tidy to the frame for when you bend it down and what have you. And that's the handle assembly done. So having assembled the handle, the next thing we need to do is put oil and fuel in the engine. Now, putting oil in the engine, this is absolutely critical. Let me turn it around so you can see where the oil is put in. Now this machine is delivered with no oil in the engine. Vitally important that you put oil in the engine before you start it. You will blow the engine up if you put fuel in it, start it, it will go bang, your warranty will be void, and there'll be tears all round. Oil in the engine first. Okay. This is your dipstick. If you unscrew the dipstick, you'll see that it's got what's traditionally known as a dipstick. It is a stick itself, and it's got graduations on the bottom of it. Oil goes in through this chute here, and pour it in nice and slowly. Now it's a 1030 or 1540 grade normal engine oil. So it's 1030 or 1540. So pour it slowly down this tube. If you pour it too fast, it'll come back out and it'll make a mess. So nice and gently, give it time to run down the tube, and then dip with your stick. Now when you dip it, don't screw the dipstick into the hole, just dip it down till it stops, pull it back out. Keep filling with engine oil until the oil level registers to the top of these graduations here. You'll see there's like a serrated line. When you get to the top of these graduations, about this point, you've got the correct amount of engine oil in. If you pour engine oil in quickly and then dip it straight away, you'll be dipping into what's in the tube and not what's in the engine, and you'll find you'll be right up here. So basically wipe off your dipstick, give it time to go down to the bottom of the engine, dip your stick in the hole. When it comes to this top of this serrated line, you're into the perfect depth, okay? And you've got exactly the right amount of oil. Then screw your dipstick back into the hole, tighten it up nice and firmly. We don't want it vibrating loose or you having any leaks, and that will be the oil filled. But again, vitally important, make sure you put engine oil in the engine first, otherwise it will cause serious damage. And it's 1030 grade or 1540 grade engine oil. Okay, next thing we're going to do, pretty obvious one, this one is petrol. Now this is a 4-stroke engine, and it takes in the fuel tank here clean, fresh, unleaded petrol. No additives, no 2-stroke oil, no nothing. Clean, fresh, unleaded petrol. Pour your petrol in, don't fill it to the very top, you're going to cause spills and what have you, and it's a potential fire hazard. But once it's sort of 25 mil from the top, you should be okay. Once you've filled it up, screw your filler cap back on carefully, making sure not to cross thread it, and screw it down firmly. Should you spill any petrol, wipe it all up, give it plenty of time to evaporate before you start the lawnmower. Do not fill it up with petrol if the lawnmower is hot, because you're going to have a hot exhaust here and what have you. If you spill it when the engine's hot, again, you've got the danger of fire. So, please be safe when you're doing this and do it sensibly. Wait until the engine's gone cold and then refill it with petrol. Ideally, fill the tank up with petrol prior to use, and then, it's basically by the time you finished your lawn, you've still got petrol in it, okay? So, think safe anywhere around petrol. So that's the oil and fuel filled. Next thing we're going to do is go through the operating instructions. So let's have a look at the controls on the lawnmower, shall we? What I'll do, I'll spin it round to give you a better view. Okay. You'll see at the top here are 2 handles. I mean, they're easy for the operator when you're pushing it along. Both these handles are easy to get to, and so is the throttle, which is this one here. Right forward is fast, right back is slow. So that's the fast position and also the start position. So to start the mower, you push it down here. Once it's started, you drop it back a little bit, and then that would be slow to a takeover. This here is what we call the engine kill. Now, to start the engine, you would always need to pull this handle back. So you pull it back and then pull the pull cord and start the engine. We'll go through that procedure in a moment. If at any time you let go of this handle, it will stop the engine. It's a good safety feature. So you let go of that handle and the engine stops. The rear one here is the self-propelled feature. If you let go of this, the mower will stay still. When you pull this handle forward, the mower will proceed and off to go. So when you let go of this, it then stops. And when you let go of this handle, the engine will stop. Now, to make it simpler so that all the controls are in one place, the pull starter, as you can see, is down on the floor here, but it does pull out and loop through this little pigtail here. I'll show you that. So if you just pull it out gently, it's difficult for me to do from this side. Okay, a little bit more. Right, that should do me. Basically, what we're looking to do is to pop the handle through this little pigtail here. Okay, so through the pigtail and in. Come round that side, I can show you a lot easier. Okay, so basically withdraw the pull cord, fair way out, through the pigtail and in. And that makes the pull starter up here where it's easy to get to as well. So next is the starting procedure itself. So we've put engine oil in as we described earlier, and we've put petrol in the engine. Next thing we need to do is to prime the engine. Now there's no choke as such. This red button here is the primer. Now you need to push it 3 to 5 times. If you've never run the mower before, probably about 5 times, and typically about 3 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be normal on a new one. Maybe an extra one for luck, but 5 would be more than enough. Okay. Throttle right down into the start position, which is right down. We would need to have this handle pulled, which is the engine kill. So this handle back, and then basically pull start the engine. Once the engine has started, just drop the throttle back a little bit. We don't need it running flat out all the time. And then the mower's ready to start. If at any time we want to stop the engine, let go of that bar and the engine will stop. Once the engine's running, we've dropped the throttle back a bit and we want to proceed. This is the drive handle, engages the little clutch underneath, and off it goes. So that's pretty much the start procedure and how to stop. So at any time to stop, let go of that handle and everything will stop and the engine will stop. So the next thing we're going to look at is the 4-in-1 functions and how they work. I'll describe next the 4-in-1 feature of the lawnmower. Let's just move the lawnmower out of the way. So you see you've got the lawnmower itself, you've got what we call the mulching plug, and this is the side discharge chute, and this is the basket itself, the 70-litre basket. Now there is a little bit of assembly with the basket, I'll just show you that. You'll see it's got some plastic clips here, around the outside and over the bar. That's that one done. Around the inside and over the bar. Okay, you can see it's pretty straightforward. That's that one done. And again, around the outside and over the bar. And that just holds the net part of the basket in position on the front bar. And there you have a fully assembled 70-litre catchback. Right, let's bring them over this way and we'll show you the 4 functions. Let's start with what everybody knows, cut and collect. Basically the mower is cutting grass and would discharge out of the back of the lawnmower. Collect does what it says on the tin. We hook the basket on the back of the lawnmower. Oops. And we're cutting and collecting, and that's the cut and collect mode. Okay. You'll see on the basket here, there are 2 hooks. On the top here, I'll spin it round. You'll see the 2 silver springs that hold the flap in position. So, there's the silver springs. These hooks sit over the top of the springs. Simple as that. On, close the flap, basket fitted. That's cut and collect. The next thing we'll show you is cut and drop. So basically, if you remove the collection basket, now what happens is it cuts the grass, it comes out of the rear chute and drops it onto the grass in a trail, and that's what we call cut and drop. Third function would be cut and mulch. I shall show you that. So that's the normal cut. What we're basically doing is fitting this mulching plug, but now the grass has nowhere to go. So we fitted the plug, the grass has nowhere to go, so what happens is it gets trapped in the cutting area, and the blade goes round and round, cutting the grass finer and finer into smaller and smaller bits, which is called mulch, and that eventually drops out the bottom as you're going along. So that's the cut and mulch. And the fourth function is what we call cut and side discharge. So to side discharge, we need to block the rear discharge with the plug, open up the side discharge flap, fit the little chute. It's difficult for me to see from this angle. Fit the little chute, and now what happens is when it cuts, it discharges out of the side. This is good for sort of damp grass or first cut of the season grass where it's really quite long. It takes a lot less power for the lawnmower. It can cut a lot longer grass if you use the side discharge function. So this is function number 4, cut and side discharge. I mean, as you can see, it's quite a big machine. It's good for the larger garden. It's got some good sized 210mm and 150mm wheels with proper bearings in them. Good for sort of rough ground where you've got lumpy grass, that sort of thing. Another great feature, want to adjust the height of your lawnmower, single point height adjustment. No messing about with spanners, changing wheels into different holes. As you can see, single point, real high cut point there, and just with the use of one lever, I can go from the bottom. I can't do it from this side, but from the bottom to the top. Here we are, let's try it that way. So that's the lowest position, and that's the highest. Simple as that. You can do it in seconds. Absolutely brilliant. And it's got a powerful 4-stroke 173cc petrol engine, more than enough power. It cuts a 50cm or 51cm diameter cut, which is absolutely marvellous. It means every time you go down your lawn, you're cutting a 51cm, half a metre plus cut along your lawn. So you're not going up and down so many times because you're cutting a wider sort of swathe every time. Absolutely marvellous. As I said, good bearings, good quality, good gearbox, good self-drive. Everything easy to access. Nice soft grip handle. It's got some great features, the 4-in-1. It really is a cracking little machine. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this little out-of-the-box demonstration. I've been Adrian, and happy mowing.